Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 30th meeting of the Port Jefferson Village Board of Trustees. Clerk Perillo, could you please confirm the presence of a quorum?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Shepro?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Ugrinsky?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Franco?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Hill?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Giuliano is absent, and Attorney Moran and Treasurer Gafka are here as well.
And I forgot to say what time it was, so 6:02.
6:02.
Okay. Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. Could everyone please stand while Deputy Mayor Ugrinsky leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is announcements from
Thank-
Clerk Perillo.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next meeting of the Board of Trustees is a work session meeting. That is scheduled for 5 o'clock p.m. on the 13th of August.
Very good. I think we have some very interesting things coming up at that meeting. Some
Yes,
great
ma'am.
presentations from our planning department, so we're looking forward to that. We have Kevin Cooper, our supervisor of the Code Enforcement Office, is here tonight to give us a safety and welfare update.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me back. We had a busy July, as you know. We started off with the events, the parade and the fireworks, which went very well. No issues that I know of, and everybody seemed to be happy. As far as events going on during the month, we've been monitoring the live music events at Harborfront Park on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We've been monitoring the live music at Harborfront Park on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and the concerts at, or the live music at East Beach on Fridays, and also we've been paying special attention to the music over at the brewery. We had some issues there at the beginning of the month with just people not staying on the brewery property with their drinks. And I've resolved that. I've met with the ownership, and they're doing a pretty good job of keeping their patrons on their property. So I'm there almost every Wednesday night. Tonight, Anthony's there. So I think that should be okay for the remainder of the summer. We work with the 6th Precinct, Cope, and the whiskey team with the e-bikes and the loud cars. We've been trying to monitor them as much as possible. Anytime I get a complaint, I send it right over to Casey Berry and the whiskey team, let them know what's going on. They've been very responsive. 2 Fridays ago, the whiskey team impounded a motor dirt bike that was riding very loudly with their pipes, exhaust pipes down Main Street. It turned out it was unlicensed, didn't have a registration, and so they impounded it and gave the driver tickets, so returnable to court. I'm also working with the 6th Precinct and the whiskey team on noise conditions and gatherings behind the Gap lot, well, in the Gap lot behind a few of the businesses and next to the frigate, and been posting vehicles there when I have them in the lot as a presence Friday, Saturday night. I will increase that as we go along. I'll monitor the situation as we go along. During the month, we had 15 incident reports prepared for various calls throughout the village: trespass, aids, car damage, tree down, wires, stuff like that, accidents, property damage. We had 8 online complaints. 2 of them were from noise. 1 was minors drinking in a parking lot. 2 were parking complaints. 1 was speeding in a residential neighborhood. And 2 littering complaints. We are addressing another issue that popped up this month with delivery trucks in front of Danford's parking when they make their deliveries parking on East Broadway. It causes a big problem when there's people that want to get onto an incoming ferry or an outgoing ferry. I spoke to the manager of the Black Pearl, where most of the deliveries are going, and I also spoke to the manager of Danford's. They said they would reach out to the vendors Today, we actually issued a ticket to one truck that was parked there, affecting traffic. And we told another one to move along later on in the day, so I'm trying to keep up with it. I reached out to Danfords again about it today, so I'll monitor it. It seems to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, mostly today. I know it was Wednesday, but really the heavy ferries, I looked on the ferry app, and it looks like the heavy ferries are Friday, Saturday, Sunday mornings right now, so we'll try to stay on top of it. Notices of violation, I issued 3 of them to businesses this month, 1 for no building permit, 1 for no operating license, and 1 for litter. We issued 1 notice of violation to a residence for property maintenance. We issued 1 field appearance ticket for noise and 1 for an open container. To date, month to date, we've issued 1,036 parking tickets. Last year in July, code issued 642. So we're having a really good month with the parking, trying to stay on top of that for the businesses, keep everybody happy. Other code complaints that I worked on: construction noise, 2 property maintenance complaints, landscape is starting early, too early in the morning, and garbage pails being left out at the curb all day, all week. And that's really it I have with the code. Just my personnel I want to talk about. I have 35 part-time people, officers, and 1 full-time officer. You'll notice on the resolutions tonight there's 4 resignations. 2 of them haven't worked 1 day since I've been here, so I started February. So they were asked to resign. 1 decided to retire, and 1 was asked to resign due to his poor job performance. And I anticipate hopefully 3 to 4 more hires before the end of the summer, and I may have a couple more resignations. I'm trying to, encourage people to work, or that, they're going to have to, they're taking up roster spots. That's the problem. If you don't work for long periods of time, you're blocking me from hiring somebody who wants to work. So, and that's it. That's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions from the board for Supervisor Cooper?
Just a statement. I've heard nothing but compliments about what
thank
you
you, sir.
guys and the code have been doing, so
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll let them know.
kudos to you and keep doing the good work.
Thank you.
for
Appreciate
your
it.
help.
Yeah, I want to echo that as well. And then the only thing on our agenda tonight, we have change of code to include the noise ordinance for
Great.
holidays.
The holidays?
For,
Great, thank you. That'll
and I
help.
just want to point out that that is something that
Yeah,
you
they'll-
pointed out to the
yeah.
board, and we just appreciate that
Yeah,
tremendously.
there'll be a
so
number of
thank you.
residents happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Anybody else?
Any questions from the public right now while Supervisor Cooper's still here? Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Thanks. You're
Thank you. Okay, now we are opening up to the public to address the Board of Trustees. If there's anyone who would like to address the Board of Trustees, come on up.
Drew Sora, 2 Stern Drive. I just have 2 questions. Both are regarding the country club tonight. So if any of you during the comment section, the trustee comment section, can speak to truth on any of these issues, I'd appreciate that. My first question is regarding the CCMAC. I'm just wondering what the state of the CCMAC is currently. The prior CCMAC president has not been reappointed, and there's not been a new board that's been appointed, which, to my knowledge, which I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, that means the country club is in the hands of the Board of Governors right now, which is majority non-residents and is not appointed or confirmed by this board. And they also currently still have no bylaws, which was something that was brought up a few months ago. So nothing to run elections, nothing to combat some of the things that we're hearing about how they're operating. So I was just wondering about the CCMAC and what that's looking like right now. Excuse me. And then I just had one more question. I was wondering if you could address the claim that there is grounds crew at the golf course that are currently working on the tennis court project for the village. I'm just wondering, my question here is who's paying for that? Because those are country club employees, and to my knowledge, the tennis court project is a village project. So those are my 2 questions. So if those could be addressed during the trustee comment section, I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Barbara?
Short people. Barbara Sabatino, 2 Westview Avenue. Tonight, you're going to be discussing Resolution 26-73025, page 7 of 8. And it talked about declaring as surplus and no longer needed for municipal purposes office equipment, supplies, and materials not earmarked for reuse. And I just want to know if you had discussed, are you going to donate it, or are you going to toss it in the garbage? Do you have any plans for these things?
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Okay. Public comment section is hereby closed. Now we can jump right into the trustee comments section of our agenda. So I guess we have a couple of questions to address. Barbara, I'll address your question first. So we're going through a lot of material in the treasurer's old office, and there are hundreds of 5-inch binders. They're like that thick, and they're empty because we're processing the records in the way that they're supposed to be processed. Either they will be shredded, or by law they will be maintained in the appropriate spot and location and archived. So from all of this review and processing of 50, 60 years of documents, we have a lot of things that are no longer being used to store those documents, which are file cabinets and binders, which are probably worth $25 each. Big file cabinets, really great resource for anybody that might want it. And other things like maybe desks, materials. We'll if we need to, we will recycle the electronics through the local company that recycles our electronics for us. But we will, like the bricks, make these excess resources available to either donate or, maybe we'll call the school district, maybe they want it, but these are 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s style records, storage resources. So we're not sure anybody's really going to jump at this, but they might. They might. So we'll put we'll make a poster kind of thing and put pictures up, and we'll say, maybe we'll put it out at the curb and put it on Facebook as a curb alert, first come, first serve kind of thing. Just kidding. But yes, the answer to your question is we will not just throw them away in a dumpster. We will make them available to anyone that really might benefit from them. But it will be first come, first serve. Is that correct, Clerk Perillo? Yes. Okay. Okay. And then the CCMAC state. I will first address part of that question, and I'll ask Trustee Ugrinsky, Deputy Mayor, to weigh in. So we are in the process of talking to folks who are interested in recruiting new folks who might want to get involved with the CCMAC. The CCMAC really hasn't met for the past 5 months. Not sure why, but I guess they just haven't been able to pull a quorum together. So yeah, we are looking to appoint new folks, and we want to do that at the time of having everyone available at the same time to start off on a clean slate. Some folks' terms have not expired yet, but for those who have, those folks who have been serving for 10 years or more, we're looking for new folks to weigh in, and we're also inviting those people from the CCM who have served on the CCMAC for all those years to bring their intellectual knowledge to and institutional knowledge to the process that we're going to go through to look at the modernization and capital work that will be proposed in the coming years, months, year, for a master planning for the country club campus. So there's going to be a lot of seats at that table available, and folks who have served on the CCMAC for all those years have been encouraged to participate in that process too. So with regard to the employees question, would you like to answer that one, Zena? You want me to?
I'm happy to do it. So, yeah. So actually, first of all, Drew, always a pleasure to see you. Appreciate your questions. Yeah. So the mayor just talked about the process we're going through with the CCMAC. I want to specifically address the question you had regarding the BOG. The CCMAC is part of code, right? They are in the Port Jeff Village Code. Not so with the Board of Governors. They are a body that makes recommendations. Okay, so they're not a decision-making body, as it were. As far as the workers working on the tennis courts, so we rely on the superintendent to manage his staff. If he has idle staff that can be deployed somewhere on the country club property, I would rather have them helping out where the tennis courts used to be than sitting idle or having to let them go, right? So I'm not sure if that completes the answer, but like we trust him to make those decisions. I wanted to ask that question. If I may. Okay.
Sure.
One
Other thing I want to add to that answer, seeing if that's okay. So on the thing I think that our superintendent does is he works with the schedule of the course as well. And typically on Mondays there are outings that take place on the golf course, during which the maintenance crew is, as the word Zena uses, idle. So when there is time when they can be utilized to help keep the maintenance of the entire country club in working order or advancing it, that's what the superintendent has told them that would be their responsibility, and so that's what he assigns them to do.
Yeah, there's I'll just pile on. There have been some questions related to like player times, and the other thing we rely on the supervisor to do, or superintendent to do, is determine course conditions and adjust player play as he sees fit. So one of the things that was happening was that because folks were teeing off before tournaments, after tournaments, tournaments are really hard on the course because those players don't always do things like repair their divots, etc. And so if the entire course is in use from 6 a.m. to, sundown, that doesn't give the maintenance crews time to go around and fix or even prepare for tournament play, etc. So just another fact for everyone, because we've been talking about it. We've gotten some resident communication about it, so wanted to make sure that got addressed. And Marilyn, I know that you were late. Did you have something to add to public comment?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, we're just going to go out of order for a minute.
Yeah,
to revisit the public comment for one Marilyn Damascus.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Mayor Shepro, Honorable Board of Trustees, we, the Board of Port Jefferson Civic Association, support the implementation of this code as a measure to enhance pedestrian safety. Are we on the same page?
Okay, we are out of order again.
We're out of order, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because we have public hearings coming, right? Yeah.
So should I
you're not late,
retract?
turns out.
sorry,
It's not
Marilyn,
public comment.
that's
This
on
is
me.
comment on the public hearing.
Yes, yes. So We'll call you at the time when,
Once we've
Yeah.
gone through that. Sorry, my error.
thank you.
Apologies.
Okay, other trustee comments?
Yes.
Sure.
Drew, to address your concern, the mayor mentioned that the CCMAC hadn't met for several months. And the problem, as speaking to some of the members of the CCMAC, is that I believe in the code, it says that you have to have 7 of the 9 members to have a quorum. And I was going to bring that up to the board and the mayor to maybe make an adjustment that a quorum is a majority. Because it seems like it made it very difficult to have those meetings with that restriction to have 7 of the 9 members at the board meeting. So that's something we should definitely look into and address, and maybe make an adjustment to the code to make it easier to have a quorum for the CCMAC.
Are you talking about the CCMAC code?
Yes.
Oh, there are only 7 members on the
So then it was,
CCMAC.
I think 5 of 7 had to attend at that time. There was a problem with getting a quorum.
Isn't a quorum a majority? Typically?
The words are the words, you know, I don't have it in front of me. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll pull it up. But
That would be helpful,
it's
if you could.
5 of 7.
I think that was the problem that they were having, that they couldn't get a majority to meet this number. The second thing is, I agree, Drew, that the bylaws need to be addressed. We've brought this up to the board, sometime in December or January, November of last year, and we, 7, 8 months later, we still don't have implemented bylaws to govern the Board of Governors. So that's something that really needs to be addressed, and I'm sure the mayor is going to lead on that to help us get this resolved. Now, not only am I a trustee, but I'm a golf member also. So I'm, as they said in that hair club, I'm a member also. I'm a customer also. The president of the hair club. I agree that I received an email that they were modifying playing time at the golf course. And if we're diverting 6 to 7 grounds crew members from the golf course to work on a project at the tennis courts, as a member of the golf course who's a dues-paying member, I have a problem with that because I want the golf course prepared. We've always been able to play golf at 6:50 in the morning. And if we're making modifications to that to accommodate the tennis court grass area, that has nothing to do with the golf course, and that's where all these people receive their salaries, I think that's something we need to look at and find out what that complex is going to be, what's entailed there. I need to get a little more information on that. But I do believe the grounds crew should be working on the grounds of the golf course to make it ready for the membership to play, not being diverted to other projects that are off the golf course. So that's something we should address. And that's it. So hopefully I'll be able to get back to you with an email. I'll speak to the mayor and other members of the board and see if we can accommodate some of these issues.
With all
Thank you, sir.
due respect, Trustee Franco, the superintendent's responsible for the entire country club property, right? And I did not suggest that he was redirecting people to the tennis court, and that was related to the Monday morning. 2 separate things, so we can talk about both.
No, what I mentioned was I received an email from the golf course that they were changing the times that we could use the course. And they were saying it was because of maintenance. And if we're diverting staff.
No, that's golf course maintenance, not tennis court maintenance.
Well, the tennis courts are no longer there. Now there are no tennis courts there, and there is no tennis club any longer.
But the maintenance.
So the maintenance of that
Yeah.
area, I'm sorry, let me just
Please.
finish.
Yeah.
So what I had said was if they're diverting staff from the golf course maintenance to get the course ready for us to utilize it, to do another project on the campus, and we're paying dues to have the course available to us, well, I think that should be first, and that should be the priority. Other projects, if there's idle time, sure, certainly, that's okay. But the course maintenance and getting the course operational should be primary. We
It
should
is.
not be. It is.
We're in agreement.
Okay,
It is.
fantastic. There we are. So we agree.
We agree.
Mayor, in reference to the CMAC, the code defines a quorum of 6. As it appears, there are 7 members, and it says, item C says 6 members shall constitute the quorum.
And what I said was, they were not able to get a quorum, which is why they haven't been able to meet for the last 5 months or so.
Correct.
So we agree. It's-
Yeah, I agree.
And
Then I
to
think
change
that-
the quorum, change the
majority would
times,
make sense,
they'll work on that.
All
I
right,
know the
thank you.
CCMAC will work on how to remedy that, but it hadn't been remedied, so.
Yeah.
Um,
Something to look into.
Just one more point, to put a fine period on the end of this discussion and debate. The maintenance crew is directed by the superintendent. And Monday mornings, the maintenance crew is preparing the golf course and working on the golf course, most likely for the outings that are coming on at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. So what happens is when the maintenance crew is on the course and players come through, they have to step aside for 10 minutes while the players play through the hole. And we lose that time for them to be working on the golf course prior to the outing, which during outings they do not work on the golf course, and therefore they are redirected to do other tasks around the complex. So that's what we were told. That's what I was told. That's what I heard discussed. And so that's what the superintendent was able to act upon. Any other trustee comments tonight? Okay, hearing none. Clerk Perillo, can we move forward with the rest of the agenda tonight?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have 3 public hearings this evening.
Is your mic on?
We have 3 public hearings this evening. We'll start with public hearing number 1. And a resolution to open the public hearing regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 245, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 61, Schedule 13, Parking Prohibited at All Times of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson, to prohibit parking on both the east and west sides of Midland Avenue, so that parking is prohibited on all of Midland Avenue. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did everybody vote?
No, I'm sorry, I did not. I was reading something, I apologize. Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
So,
That was a vote to open the public hearing, just for
Yes.
clarity for the room and the viewers.
Mayor, I just wanted, before we start in our public hearings and our resolution agenda, advise the board that because we are down 1 member, a 2-2 vote on anything would be a denial.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so we are open for public comment on this public hearing. Parking prohibited at all times on Midland Avenue. Do we have any public comment on this hearing? Feel free to come on up.
Hi there. Alexis Nugent. I live on Midland Avenue, 33 Midland Avenue. 33. Thank you. There's clearly been a problem on our block for about the last 6 months. I'm sure most of you heard there was a shooting there in March. Also, I think it's related to the situation that we've had. There's one bad neighbor out of the 13 houses on the block. This person has multiple people living in his home, parking on the streets, blocking the road. I can't remember a time in the last 6 months that I can get down the road without having to wait for them to close their car doors because they stand in the road all hours of the day. And in the night, I had to put cameras up because they're turning around in everybody's driveways 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, every night. Although it's a problem that our neighbor is being inconsiderate with the 10-plus people that are living in his home, which I don't know how that's legal, and perhaps there's a way we could go about looking into that. I don't think it's fair to the rest of us on the block, who are good neighbors to each other, the other 12 houses, that we can't have anybody parking on the street, as it's a very small dead end. I'm the last house on the dead end. I have one driveway for my car, one driveway for my niece that lives with me, and no place else for anyone to park other than the street. So I would disagree that this should be a new law. I understand during times of snow, you usually prohibit people from parking on the street, and that I agree with, because you won't be able to get down our block with a plow with anyone parked. But other than that, there's a specific problem with a specific house, and that's why there's code calls generated, 911 calls generated, multiple, Those people in that house have as well called multiple times. The cops are on the block constantly lately. So there's really an issue with one address on the block.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sure. Just when you push the button, the green light comes on, you know that you're being, oh, it's on?
Which button?
Okay, nothing, never mind.
Oh. So, my name is Terry Woodard, and, excuse me? Yes, 19 Midland Avenue in Port Jefferson. I've lived on Midland Avenue for the last 25 years, I guess it is now, and with my wife, and she's present here today. And I agree with everything that woman just said. There's a major problem going on there. There's a house that a lot of people live in, and they're parking their cars at any time, 3 to 5 cars. And I don't know if you know Midland Avenue. It's a very narrow, it's not to code, which is kind of ironic. And when cars are parked on that road, I don't think fire trucks or EMS trucks could get by there safely if there was an emergency up on the north end. That's a problem. There was always an unwritten rule and a protocol amongst residents that lived there that there was no parking on the street, and we always followed that. But now this new house with all these people in this house are not following that protocol, and they're parking on the street. And it's creating a major inconvenience for a lot of the rest of us that live there. Just as an aside, it's not terribly relevant. I'm the former Port Jefferson Village prosecutor under your late great father, who was a good friend of mine. And I'm also retired from the Suffolk District Attorney's Office. I was an ADA and Major Crime Bureau out in Riverhead. We're all very concerned about the shooting that happened on that block. I probably should have spoke up and asked the constable before what he knows, if there's any new developments about that. It's a very serious crime to have somebody shoot 4 gunshots into your home, your residence in Port Jefferson. I've never seen anything like that.
6.
There's hearsay and speculation that maybe the folks that live, parking all those cars there had something to do with that, but it's only hearsay and speculation. I have nothing to back that up at this point. But there should be no parking on Midland Avenue. I wanted to come here and tell you that tonight.
Okay. Thank you very
Any
much.
questions or comments?
We appreciate your coming tonight.
Yeah.
Thank
What's
you.
that?
We appreciate you coming
Okay.
tonight. Thank you very much. Any other? This is Midland Avenue.
Hey there, how are you? My name is Michael Zickman. Michael Zickman. I live at 6 Nicholas Street. Nicholas, thank you. That young lady back there is my aunt. I constantly frequent her house, check on it, whatever. There really is no parking on that. I think I'm talking too close, sorry. Mike's a little too close. There really is no parking on that street. Most of those houses are pretty old, have small little one driveway, just enough to fit a car or two. So if you do have, say, a small party, we often have holidays over there. There really is no other place to park but the street. But people are very considerate. And well, you guys lived there 20 plus years. In all the years I've been going there, 20 plus years, everybody's always been considerate on that block. I think that would hurt it if there was a no parking zone, because really, if you do have a guest over, it's kind of the only place they can park. And like the gentleman and my aunt said, it really is the one house on the block that is giving the problem as of late. Haven't had any complaints before that house and started doing what it's doing. Thank you. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else? Public comment? Any trustees like to comment?
Excuse me, Mayor, prior, we do have one addition. We have a letter, statement in opposition to this proposed local law amending Chapter 245, Section 61, parking prohibited on Midland Avenue. And that statement is from Rachel Anna Hayward of 29 Midland Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a general sense of what the comment is? The trustees received it.
Mhm.
Just for the record, the trustees all received an email from Rachel. So we should, in this forum, I think, give a sense of what her opinion is on the matter.
I'll read it into the record, Mayor.
Okay.
To the members of the Village Board of Trustees, my name is Rachel Anna Hayward, and I reside at 29 Midland Avenue on the east side of the street. I'm writing to express my strong opposition to the proposed amendment to Chapter 245, Section 61 of the Village Code, which would prohibit parking on both sides of Midland Avenue. I oppose this proposed change for the following reasons. Number one, personal safety and accessibility. My home is located on a steep incline, and during the winter months, my driveway becomes dangerously icy and often unusable. Being able to park on the street in front of my house is not only necessary for my safety, but it is also the only reliable way for me to access my home in inclement weather. Number two, elderly and family access. My elderly parents visit regularly and must park directly in front of my home due to mobility concerns. In addition, I have 4 adult children, 2 of whom live with me, and we often require more than 1 parking space. Removing all available street parking will directly affect my family's ability to safely and reasonably visit and reside at my home. Number 3, overly broad and unfair response to a specific situation. It is clear to many residents, including myself, that this proposed law is primarily a response to the parking habits of tenants at 10 Midland Avenue. While I share the concerns about excessive parking by that household, their behavior does not warrant a sweeping change to the village code that will impact every resident on the street. This proposal feels targeted and reactive rather than fair and thoughtfully designed. There must be more equitable and individualized ways to address concerns with a specific property without penalizing the entire community. In closing, I respectfully urge the board to reconsider this proposed amendment. I believe it will cause more harm than good and does not reflect the values of fairness and inclusivity that we strive for in the village of Port Jefferson. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Rachel Anna Hayward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do we have a motion now to close the public portion of the public hearing?
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would any of the trustees like to comment on this
Yeah.
proposed code change?
Thank you. I'm happy to comment on it. This idea really came from residents on that street, and we talked to, I don't want to share anyone's names in public forum, but a resident came to our Public Safety Advisory Council and requested, action being taken. This was something that we came up with, and she agreed that it was a good alternative. I personally knocked on every single door on that block, notifying them about this public hearing and how the code change would work. I did speak to, I think, all but possibly 2 or 3 residents that day. I think you were, if you're at the very end, you were the one that I did not get. I'm very sorry. I knocked, but I don't think you were home.
Thank you for leaving.
Yes, yeah.
That's why I knew the
Yep. And I do want to just point out, we have no parking on, Midland would not be the only street that has no parking on it. There's a number of streets. Next to my house, you can't park on the street, just touching my house. I believe on Trustee Ugrinsky's street, there's no parking right there. Enforcement can always is at the discretion of the code enforcement officer. Most of our code enforcement, and probably nearly all of our, north of 90%, we have the supervisor here to correct me if I'm wrong, is complaint driven. So I think that's really important to keep in mind. And if I did catch you that day, if I came, I think you were probably pulling in when I was pulling out. But I did tell all the residents that if you're having an event, a party, a birthday party, a holiday, you can call up code enforcement and tell them that you're going to have guests that day, and they know to to accommodate that. So there is always flexibility in enforcement, and I think that's important to keep in mind as we consider this resolution. But this just gives the village another tool in the toolbox to help remediate a problem that's going on that block. As I did speak to all the folks that I was able to talk to that day, were very positively in favor of this code change.
Thank you, and thank you, Kyle, for taking the time to go to each house on that street. That was really above and beyond. appreciate that, because I know there were notifications also sent out to the street, but the personal touch is really, really very appreciated. Anyone else?
I will sort of add to what Trustee Hill said. We've been living in the Harbor Hills area for 13 years, and there's no parking anywhere on any of the streets. So it's always been, code enforcement has always been super easy to work with. If you know you're having company, not enough room in your driveway, just let them know, and let them know for how long. And, you know, they've been really responsive and allowed it. Flexible, let's call it.
Would that in fact give the people at number 10 the same recourse to call code enforcement who say they live there and they need to park there? That would solve the problem.
Understood. Routinely, and our code supervisor is present, that might work the first time. But what I'm hearing from our trustee liaison to the Public Safety Commission is that this is in response to the neighborhood complaints themselves. It's no secret where those complaints are generating from, and not putting words in our commissioner's mouth, our director of code's mouth. I'm sure him and the orders that will trickle down through the chain of command will reflect that.
May I add something?
Of course.
Just, it's really important, because I drove Midland today before I came, because I knew this was going to be on. It's a very narrow street, but it's very important to give Kevin the tools in his toolbox to help resolve the problems that you're having. And knowing Kevin, he's a straight shooter. He's going to do the right thing by the neighborhood. So I would put some faith in him.
All right, and I've spent some time on Midland myself with the neighborhood, conversing with the residents there, and was at the Public Safety Advisory Council's meeting where one of your neighbors was there, and we discussed the issue at length, and we've consulted frequently with the code enforcement team, and in many, many ways, this is the one thing we can do right now as a village to help with that situation, and to keep the neighborhoods safer. This is what we have at our disposal. So many, many things have been tried and were not successful to remediate some of the issues. We've looked at we've turned over every rock, and this is really right now the one thing that we have the ability to impact. So we feel for that neighborhood. We feel for everybody in that neighborhood. And this is just something I think is, should the board agree, something that at least might be able to help.
Mayor, it's also important to note that if it doesn't work, we could always reverse it.
Well, that was my next question.
Right. Okay.
And just also, I'm in law enforcement myself, so I get it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we've closed the public comment. Do we want to read off the resolution? Is that what's next?
Yes. Thank you. Resolution adopting the proposed local laws attached, amending Chapter 245, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 61, Schedule 13, Parking Prohibited at All Times of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson, to prohibit parking on both the east and west sides of Midland Avenue, so that parking is prohibited on all of Midland Avenue. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Next, Mayor, we have public hearing number 2. And a resolution to open the public hearing regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 245, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 62, Schedule 4, and Chapter 245, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 71, Schedule 23, No Stopping, of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson to prohibit stopping and prohibit standing on the southeast corner of Old Post Road and Dark Hollow Road. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, can we ask for a discussion first real quick, so Trustee Hill can kind of address this publicly? Is that out of order? Okay. Would you mind? I didn't ask you if you
Happy
wanted
to
to
do
do
it.
that, but, okay.
Yeah, no, happy to do it.
All right.
So this, just to get our bearings on this one, this is really right at the drop-off pickup area of the high school. We were first, I think, alerted to this issue from the crossing guard that works there at obviously pickup and drop-off times. And she had a concern for student and pedestrian safety as students entered and exited the school, and as well as teachers too. And what's going on there, this is on Old Post Road. Cars are lining up to drop their children off at the school on both sides of the street, creating just a very narrow throughway for traffic going either way. And also just makes it, more difficult for the crossing guard to make sure that students are getting across the crosswalk from the parking lot on the other side of the street to the high school. So a group of us had gone down to observe what was going on. We had code enforcement, we had DPW over there. Trustee Laux had joined us. This was at the beginning of this year. The phenomenon that she was reporting was certainly correct. I had gone back a different day on my way home at just the right time, so I stopped by, and it was probably even worse that second time that I stopped by. So our solution to this is prohibit any standing or idling on the far side of the street. So this way, as there is a line to drop off students, or pick them up, it's only on one side of the street, which creates more of a throughway on that traffic pattern. That's kind of I personally think that would solve most of the problems with, at least the safety problems there. This way we prevent the most egregious incidents of students running across the street to go get picked up, which, obviously people can understand why that could be a problem. So we're hoping to implement this change and then really see how it works. And then hopefully it's much better. We had a discussion with the school board, meeting with them. They agreed that this would be a very good first step, and then hopefully it works. And then if there's continuing to be problems, we can sort it out from there. But I really do want to also especially thank Melissa, the crossing guard, for really keeping alerting us to this problem, and then keeping on top of us to make sure that something was done. She takes her job seriously, and our community and the students and the parents are very lucky to have her.
Okay. All in favor? Nope, we just have to, yeah, and then then it's open for comment.
May I add something to Kyle?
Oh, of course.
Just to let you, I have a meeting with the superintendent tomorrow, so I'm going to, reinforce this with them, that this is what we're doing, and just that we follow through on it. So I'll let her know tomorrow.
No. Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Public hearing is now open.
Marilyn Ramirez Damasco, 601 Scraggy Hill Road, Port Jefferson. So, Mayor Shepro, Honorable Board of Trustees, we, the Board of the Port Jefferson Civic Association, support the implementation of this code as a measure to enhance pedestrian safety. This initiative has been requested by the school, and we agreed that establishing a no parking zone will allow for better management of the pedestrian flow. We continue to regard pedestrian safety as a matter of utmost importance. Thank you so much. And yes, I've been there
so I know the problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara Sabatino. Just a technical question. Where it says in the second paragraph to prohibit stopping and prohibit standing on the southeast corner, I just picture one parking space long. Is there a, should it be worded to say how far up the street it goes, like the full length of the teacher's parking lot, rather than the southeast corner?
Mayor, I would envision a sign at some point with an arrow saying no stopping or standing from here to the corner.
Okay, does that
that
need
fair,
to,
Kyle?
does that need to be in the,
I don't believe there's any parking on the south side of, the southeasterly side of Old Post Road. I don't believe there's
I don't know, every
parking
time I'm
there
there.
allowed at all. No.
So it's not necessarily on the parking lot side. It's
Uh-huh.
on the other side of Dark Hollow, where that intersection is. It's kind of the
Where the
the
where the
school
garage
outlet
is.
kind of here, and then the corner is right here from Dark Hollow. And then when the cars are here, students are running out from the school across the
so-
street.
so-
and that
It
bend
appears,
on the
this might be
road.
helpful. It appears the body of the code is from Dark Hollow Road east, from Old Post Road at a point 150 feet south.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it is identified as 150 feet south of the corner.
okay, I'm just,
On Dark Hollow.
on
On
Dark
Dark Hollow.
Hollow. So now, and I don't mean to be stupid, but sometimes I can be very stunata, that this does not impact people on Old Post Road? Like, if you come out of the cafeteria, and there's that little crosswalk, and the crosswalk goes across to the teacher's parking lot, and people have waited for their kids in front of the teacher's parking lot, are we specifically including that? Because then, the way that it was just described, it sounds like it's only on Dark Hollow Road.
So, like I said, I don't believe
think-
parking is permitted at that, on that side of the road, anywhere on that side of the road.
And there's signs
Let's see.
there,
But,
okay.
yeah.
All right, as long as there are signs on that side that says no parking allowed, then it's very clear. But I don't recall there's been signs on that side of the road saying no parking allowed.
And we also need to be cognizant of the difference between parking and
Standing.
stopping and standing.
Yeah.
They are different.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
Thank-
true. So, did you also talk about the sort of organic partition between the parking lot and the?
I didn't, because it's not
It's not
part
on
of the
the
code
code.
change, but it's part of the plan.
so- yeah.
So happy to talk about that too.
Okay.
Part of it also, this is we're not the school board, so I can't tell you what they're going to do, but we did have discussions about them also adding just like hedges or something on that strip of grass to just physically require you to walk, to use the crosswalk. Because part of the problem also is that if the crossing guard's jurisdiction starts and ends in the crosswalk, so if you're 5 feet or 1 centimeter outside the crosswalk, they can't stop traffic for you, or at least they shouldn't be. But obviously, that's hard not to, right? It just puts the crossing guard in a difficult position. So the shrubs should force folks to use the crosswalk as well.
That will be very helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, just as long as,
But can we confirm Mrs. Sabatino's concern, though?
Maybe
I
Kevin
want to
can do
make
that.
sure that
okay,
is.
thank you.
He might be checking on that right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess. We could pull it up in a Google map, but I'm not sure that would be actually, yeah.
I think Kevin checking on that is probably the best thing.
Yeah, he's gone. He stepped out. Maybe that's what he's checking on. Okay, any other public comment?
just wanted to say I'm Drew Sora, 2 Stern Drive. I think this is a good step, and I'm glad it was discussed with the Board of Education. I've been walking out of that door for 5 years, and hasn't always been the most fun part of the day. I'll say that. So I think this is a great idea, great step towards this. I totally support this. I feel like I didn't need to say that, but I do just want to say I support it, and I'm very appreciative for the work that's been done to make this happen. I know it's been in the talks for a while, so thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion? I don't see any more public comment. Do we have a motion to close the public comment portion of the public hearing regarding this proposed local law?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Clerk Perillo, I leave it to you.
Thank you. We now have a resolution adopting the proposed local laws attached, amending Chapter 245 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 62, Schedule 14, no standing, and Chapter 245 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 71, Schedule 23, no stopping, of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson to prohibit stopping and prohibit standing on the southeast corner of Old Post Road and Dark Hollow Road. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Are we just confirming, because it does read Dark Hollow Road east from Old Post Road to point 150 feet south. Should it be?
My advice,
reversed?
Trustee Hill, it would be at this point, we know we definitely want to do this, and if we want to do something else, it wasn't advertised or that way, so we'd have to
Okay.
do it again anyway in the future. So I would just recommend if in fact we need to add something further for Old Post, it shouldn't affect this movement today.
Got it.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we have public hearing number 3. And we need a resolution, please, to open the public hearing regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 173 Noise, Section 173-4 Standards of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson, to include noise restrictions and prohibitions on federal holidays in accordance with those set forth for Friday and Saturday. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, Kyle, do you want to talk a little bit about this one too? Because I believe we discussed it in a moment ago, but just to...
Sure. So this actually first started as a resident complaint into code enforcement. I believe their neighbor was doing construction or leaf blowing or something like that, noise in general from property maintenance on a federal holiday. I believe it was Memorial Day. And when code enforcement went to go ask them to stop, I think they first checked to make sure that that was part of the code, and lo and behold, it was not. So the code change would, so then after that, Supervisor Cooper alerted the board. We discussed it at Public Safety Advisory Council. Folks agreed, and the code change would just extend our weekend noise ordinance to federal holidays as well.
Thank you. Public comment is now open for this code change.
Sorry, I've got questions.
We're glad you're here.
Oh, thank you. Could you please clarify the time? I think on a regular weekday, it's 7 a.m. I don't know what it is on a Saturday or a holiday, or what you intend to put in for a holiday time.
Yeah, let us.
We can pull up the code.
Double
Hang
check
on.
what that
I've
is.
got that on an app.
Friday,
Oh.
the amendment's going to read Friday and Saturday and federal holidays from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Airborne and amplified sound in excess of however many decibels. So no person shall create or emit any noise when measured on a sound level meter from the property line over a complaining property or a commercial district from the property line from which the noise is being emanated, or the location being complaining party, or the property line of the complaining party exceeds the following standards, and then it lists the standards. But in answer to your question, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
That's very generous. What time were these people starting? Like, was that a 6 a.m. kind of start time for their construction or something to elicit? I mean, we're changing it to 7 a.m. to
We're
11 p.m.?
changing to just add, that already exists in the code.
Uh-huh,
We're adding federal holidays.
okay,
Because I think, let's just say, new federal holiday like Juneteenth was not accounted for
mm-hmm,
in our schedule of holidays.
mm-hmm.
And it's just to give it the same treatment as we would an ordinary Friday or Saturday, or some people's regular day off.
Okay, well, I just
The
want to
time, the
state,
time is not being changed.
okay, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. is a very generous amount of time, and I don't think you should have anybody complain against it. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment? Okay, do we have a resolution to close the public comment portion of the public hearing regarding this proposed local law amending Chapter 173? Section
Motion.
173.4.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, we have a resolution adopting the proposed local law as attached regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 173 Noise, Section 173-4 Standards of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson to include noise restrictions and prohibitions on federal holidays in accordance with those set forth for Friday and Saturday. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. On to our agenda items.
Thank you. Resolution number 73025, resolution approving the attached minutes of the June 25th, 2025 agenda meeting, the July 9th, 2025 work session meeting, and the July 9th, 2025 organizational meeting of the Village of Port Jefferson Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second, but I do want one amendment. I apologize, and I should have brought this up earlier. The Blarg letter isn't included in the attachments for. It technically never made it into the attachments because they sent it late, but we did discuss at the meeting regarding the single-use plastics to include that letter. I'm happy to resend it. Is there a way we can agree to include that for when it gets uploaded for perpetuity?
Yes.
I think you just did.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
So second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 73025, resolution approving the attached proposal submitted by East End Accounting Services Corp. on behalf of the Center for Governmental Research for the performance of a comprehensive village-wide operational and administrative review of all village departments with Phase 1 to commence in early August. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Resolution number 73025, resolution awarding the contract for the removal of stormwater culvert sediment to the lowest bidder, Earth Repair LLC, at a total cost of $256,725, following a comprehensive bid analysis and subsequent recommendation by village engineers Hayduck Engineering LLC. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is just, we got a grant for this,
Correct.
right? I
Yep.
think it's just always good to remind folks.
Sure.
that,
All right.
like, we all know that and remember that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I
it's
feel like I
always
talk
good to
about it
remind
every-
folks.
every
And
meeting,
this
yeah, so-
project is, I think, is so important for the village.
Yeah. This
So-
is the Suffolk County Jumpstart Grant that we are in receipt of for $500,000. And this is a portion of the project that we are approving tonight to clean out the culvert of Mill Creek. And the second part, which the cost, as you can see, is about half of the grant. So the second part is to secure DEC permit approval and some proposals through, we'll do another request for proposal on this one to evaluate the bids to actually maintain and remove the excess sediment and the Phragmites and all the invasive species that have been growing in Mill Creek for the last number of, probably 15 years, I think the last time. Maybe it was cleaned out 10 years ago. It was maintained 10 years ago. And so the goal here is not just to do this one time, which I think we'll be able to do this one time. We won't be able to, so there is actually a Mill Creek steward. His name is Robert Larrabee. He has a grant from he has a permit from the DEC to, as the Mill Creek steward, and his permit allows him to remove the Phragmites by hand. And so that's a non-starter right now because there are so many Phragmites there, so as to make that nearly impossible to get done. They have to be removed mechanically. So that's part 2 of this grant, and we will, I don't, is the RFP for that in process, Sylvia? Or do you know if we
sorry,
have, has HADA created have we created the RFP for the second part of the Jumpstart grant, the clearing of the Phragmites?
In process.
Okay. So anyway, that's the background on that. And so hopefully within the next 6 months or so, we will have a really excellent looking Mill Creek, and then we can continue maintaining the creek annually to make sure that it doesn't get overgrown like this again, and the environmental issues are no longer as prevalent. So that is, the resolution here is talking about the actual cleaning of the culvert. So do we have a vote? All in favor?
Yeah, the only thing I just want to add on that, this is, it's not just feel good because it's good for the environment that impacts flooding in the village.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to keep in mind, that there's a lot of things that are good for the environment, but very good for dealing with flooding here, because the creek is where the water wants to go. And if it's full of invasive plants, it has to go someplace else. So it's just really great that we're able to get this done.
Yeah, I think one thing I would add to that is, we've been trying to be really proactive about things that would constitute prior deferred maintenance. That, for example, the clearing would not be costing what it's costing now if this had been maintained in an ongoing manner. And again, so crucial to our flooding situation. So I'm just glad it's getting done.
All right, and I'll add one more thing, because you reminded me, we have a flood reduction study going on with our contracted engineer, McLean Associates, for the entire area downtown. And the cleaning out of Mill Creek comes at a time that's going to be very helpful for them to be able to study what they're doing in a more comprehensive way. This will really impact some of the results that they'll be pulling in and studying in the creek area. So that's a good point on both your parts. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries.
Resolution number 4730. No. No,
No, ma'am,
thank you. You can
but I'm
direct
very
the
curious.
If you'd like to direct a correspondence to my attention as village clerk, I'll be happy to share it with the board. Resolution number 473025, resolution approving the attached electronic records model resolution regarding village records created electronically and village records that were created physically and later scanned. That resolution reads as follows. Resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson, the Board of Trustees shall maintain all digitally created records in their native digital format for the legally prescribed retention period of the record. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson shall maintain all digital records adhering to the guidelines set forth in the regulations of the Commissioner of Education, Part 185.8. Copies of records in other formats, including paper, shall be deemed convenience copies and disposed of when no longer needed for reference or other administrative purposes. So in plain language, if we have a digital record that exactly matches a record that we have on paper, we do not need to retain the paper record as long as those two are identical matches.
So we don't need all those notebooks?
Possibly not, Mayor.
Mm. File cabinets? Them too? Okay. Thank you for the plain language explanation.
You're welcome. May I have a motion on that, please?
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 5, 73025, resolution approving the amended event permit application submitted by Brooke Oliveri on behalf of the Long Island Health Collaborative for the use of village walkways from noon through 1 o'clock p.m. with the amended date of September 3rd, 2025, for the annual Walk with the Doc event. May I have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 6, 73025, resolution approving the event application submitted by Megan Francoeur to hold a neighborhood block party on Loretta Gate from 1 o'clock p.m. through 8 o'clock p.m. on August 16th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are we invited?
I have the same question.
It's behind my house, so I'm sure I'll stop by.
Resolution number 7, 73025, resolution approving the event application submitted by Nicole Macarius to hold a neighborhood block party on Washington Avenue on August 30th, 2025, with a rain date of August 31st, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 8, 73025, resolution authorizing a one-time reimbursement to Janice Fleischman Eaton in her capacity as a member of the Village of Port Jefferson Tree Committee for travel and mileage expenses in the amount of $74 related to attendance at the Tree City USA recognition event in Kingston, New York on March 27th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I just want to thank Janice for all the work that she does for this village. She does a few things, serves on a few committees, and is active on the executive board of the Civic too. So just thank you, Janice, for all the work that you do.
Ditto.
Resolution number 9, 73025, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson hereby ratifies an agreement with employee A, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson hereby authorizes Mayor Shepro to execute the agreement on behalf of the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Resolution number 10, 73025, resolution ratifying the hiring of Daniel Curley as a part-time seasonal laborer at an hourly wage rate of $18 per hour, effective July 17th, 2025, and ratifying the hiring of Matthew McNulty as a part-time seasonal laborer at an hourly wage rate of $18 per hour, effective July 28th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
This is for Department of Public Works or Parks?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They need all the help they can get right now, so motion carries.
Resolution number 11, 73025, resolution accepting the resignation of Code Enforcement Officer Guy Gaiona, effective July 7th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 12, 73025, resolution accepting the resignation of Code Enforcement Officer Justin Garcia, effective July 9th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 13, 73025, resolution accepting the resignation of Code Enforcement Officer Brian J. Dwyer, effective July 25th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 14, 73025, resolution accepting the letter of retirement from Code Enforcement Officer Ron Elton, effective July 18th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Just a quick comment about Officer Elton. He's been around for over 30 years, very dedicated code enforcement representative, and so most of these people that work in code enforcement have 2, 3, 4 other jobs that they're working, so their hours are very limited. Officer Ron Elton's been, like I said, very dedicated and consistent, and he's retiring from the workforce right now, and we are grateful for his service. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 1573025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 98, decreasing the general fund budget in the amount of $255,000 by decreasing appropriations for line item A, 1910.4 insurance expenses by $230,000 and line item A, 99509001 interfund transfer parking capital by $25,000, and decreasing anticipated revenue for the following line items. A, 1740 on-street parking meter fees by $125,000. A, 2001 park and recreation fees by $30,000. And A, 2012-001 concessions caterers by $100,000. Commissioner of Finance, would you like to guide us through the plain language explanation, please?
It would be my pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, so you may recall that we have spent the last year shoring up the financials, putting the beans in the correct buckets in plain English. And as part of that process, we are now in a position to manage the budget, which as a municipality always has to stay flat. So if we understand there's less money coming in, we also have to reduce spend, which means spend on services, right, for the residents. So, so now that we are in a situation, and this will pertain to some of the follow-on resolutions as well, but the clerk's office, the treasurer have, we forecasted a certain insurance cost, and we were lucky enough to negotiate that lower. And so between this one and the following one, we saved $260,000 in insurance costs. Now, that enabled the treasurer to have a look at all of our expenses and say, what is our run rate today? What are we trending? Because and I'll just quickly go through them. So our parking meter fees, they are running lower than last year. Parks and recreation fees are also running lower than we've trended it. And we believe that's a combination of economic factors at this point. But the way where we are with our financial reporting now allows us to analyze this on a monthly basis. So when we have some savings, we can go through and look at those line items and say, okay, they're trending lower, so let's lower those. Let's lower that full year forecast. And in the last one, the concessions caterers, for example, this is year one with Lessings, okay? So right now, we're running ahead. We're getting more revenue than on a monthly basis than we have forecasted for the rest of the year. However, this is our first year going through this with them, and we don't know what that revenue is going to look like in the winter. So out of an abundance of caution, we're going to lower that revenue number, and if it continues to stay higher, then we can bump up expenses somewhere else. But what we don't want to do is find ourselves in a situation where we are suddenly spending more than we're taking in. So this is, our treasurer is doing a very good job now and has been, of getting us to this point and now managing it on an ongoing basis. This resolution and the following one are both related to that analysis. One is for the general, so Resolution 15 is for the general expenses, and 16 is specifically for the golf course. Treasurer, do you have I captured that adequately? Okay, I hope that was English enough.
Now I understand. All in favor?
Is there any insight into the park and rec fees? Because that's we're forecasting that 30,000 less, right? That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what's not coming in?
Okay, so first of all, we're reacting to the numbers that are coming in. Our next step is going to be to go back to Renee and do the analysis necessary to understand the why,
All right.
right? And that relates to rate increase, same thing with the parking, right? We want to do the analysis and watch, like, have we made the right decisions? Do we need to adjust those decisions?
Trustee Urginski, I have a question about the concession caterers.
Ugrinsky.
Ugrinsky, I know
Thank you.
I'm going to say Zener instead.
That's a good idea. Trustee Zena, I'll answer
Trustee
to that.
Zener, you're getting from that. If we're ahead on the concessions catering,
Mhm.
why are we reducing
The anticipated
the
revenue
anticipated
by
revenue
100?
down by 100,000 if we're ahead? If we're generating more money from them than we anticipated?
I mentioned it before, but maybe I glossed, just went a little too fast on this one. This is our first year with Lessings. We don't know how the winter is going to play out, right? We know that there are some slowdowns in revenue that come in, but we don't know what that's going to be. So we're anticipating it. If the good news happens and they continue to have a run rate that they're having, even as the season is over and we head into the fall and winter months, fabulous.
And don't forget, the fiscal year starts June 1st.
Yes.
So in the month of June, what was our revenue from Lessings for the month of June?
36, I think.
We brought in just under 37,000.
Yeah, so that was the great news, that it's almost $7,000 over what we budgeted for and anticipated under the contract with TPG, who had a set rate of a monthly rate to pay rent for. This is a 9% of their gross revenue.
Stephen, just out of curiosity, do they pay a 4-week period or a 5-week period, Lessings?
They have 12 periods of the year that they're broken out based off of their own schedule. So it depends on the month.
So in this
It
first,
could be 4 weeks, it could be 5 weeks, depends on the month.
depends on the month. So was this first period a 4-week or a 5-week?
This was a 4-week period.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, I just think it's prudent, because we haven't been through this with them. If we have an opportunity to drop the revenue number and then exceed it, it has a direct impact on how we budget for next year, right? So we're trying to plan ahead.
No, I think it's a good idea. It's caution. I was just trying to get some information.
Okay, all in favor of resolution, are we on 15?
Mayor, we need a motion first. That was still discussion.
Motion?
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution number 16-73025, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 30, decreasing appropriations for PJCC line item CR 141043, insurance expenses by $46,000, and increasing appropriations for the following line items. CR 798921, PJCC equipment parts and repairs by $7,950. CR 798941, PJCC fertilizer by $10,000. CR 79904, contractual expense by $800. CR 7990425, Pro Shop inventory by $17,950. And CR 9788.6, capital leases principal by $9,300. Commissioner, do we need further plain language? Or
The only thing I would add is the last one. First of all, this resolution follows the prior right? This is just the Port Jeff Country Club version of the insurance savings being applied. This last one, capital leases, we just had the early receipt of a large piece of equipment. So we had a little budget overage there because we budgeted for it to arrive a little later than it actually has. But it's currently in use, so.
And these numbers were arrived at after following discussions from the staff at the country club, correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay.
This is another example of how closely we're now working. The treasurer's office is now working with all the departments to give them accountability, some ownership, a voice in the expenses that they're expected to manage. So I'm actually, really excited about
Here,
where
here.
we are.
Yeah,
So-
same. Okay, so do we have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Resolution number 17-73025, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 31, decreasing appropriations for line item A, 1990.4 contingency expenses by $42,000 and increasing appropriations for the following line items. A, 5110.1 street maintenance full-time by $32,000 and A, 7110.1 parks full-time by $10,000. Commissioner?
Okay, so we closed out a union contract negotiation. And as a result of that, there were some increases to salaries, and that is now being recorded in the appropriate places. And that's essentially what this resolution does, is it gives the treasurer permission to do so.
Okay, that's good news. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 18-73025, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 99, recording the receipt of serial bond proceeds and increasing anticipated revenues for capital fund line item H 5710 serial bonds in the amount of $760,000 and raising appropriations for the following capital fund line items. H 8997.599, retaining walls, East Beach and Highlands by $344,000. H 8997.078, emergency command center by $72,229. H 8997.594, tennis court bathrooms by $51,771. H 8997.595, village hall bathrooms by $18,000. H 8997.073, sewer equipment by $120,000, and H 8997.103.3, Barnum Avenue project by $154,000. Commissioner?
Sure. So Resolution 18 and Resolution 19 both sort of follow the same protocol. In 2020, there were a number of projects that were opened up. They expected to receive some grant money, and as a result, there was some short-term borrowing. So when you hear the terms ban, that you can categorize as short-term borrowing, and a bond is a long-term borrowing. So when those projects were kicked off, the money was borrowed short-term, spent with the expectation that it would be offset by some grants funds. Those grants funds were not received. So we went after those funds, and as you know, you've heard in a number of meetings now, we have a very, very good grants writer who went after that and collected about $500,000 against these. And so we were able to pay off about $500,000 of the short-term borrowings. There's a 5-year term life, right, of the short-term borrowing. At the 5-year mark, you either pay it off or you have to turn it into a long-term borrowing. And what we're doing is we are now converting the remainder after the $500,000 pay down from grants to long-term debt. This essentially finishes off the accounting for these eight projects. And so this completes the accounting on those, and we can now close those capital projects out. Is that, anything you want to add to that, Treasurer?
No.
Okay.
Might I add something,
Absolutely.
Trustee Zena? Stephen, thank you so much for taking this from Stephen language to regular language in your email. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
He's bilingual.
I am now.
I'm bilingual.
I just want to kind of just boil it down to a one sentence thing though. When this is, we're really just, this is money already spent. So when folks see $18,000 on the Village Hall bathroom, that was years ago. That is not what this board is spending any of your money on today. So I just want to make sure that point is crystal clear to folks at home. And then thank you for taking us through the explanation.
Yeah,
think
no,
that
I
is really
appreciate
helpful.
that
But
last
again,
point.
this is
Thank
just clearing out accounting on money that's already been done.
Yep, these are projects that have been completed.
And the capital review by PKF O'Connell Davies really helped us identify a lot of these projects, the outstanding nature of them, and is now, we're putting a bow on it all by closing them out. Correct? Am I wrong? Okay.
Yes, it is putting the expenses in the right accounts and closing them out correctly.
Okay, do we have a motion?
We do. Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 19-73025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 100, increasing anticipated revenue for capital fund line item H 5731, proceeds of obligations, bands redeemed, in the amount of $119,000, and increasing appropriations for the following capital fund line items: H 8997.599, retaining walls, East Beach and Highlands, by $34,000. H 8997.073, sewer equipment, by $12,000. H 8997.103.3, Barnum Avenue project, by $28,000. H 8997.598, digitalization of records, by $45,000. Commissioner, do we need further wording?
I don't believe so. It follows the explanation for 18.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion then?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 20-73025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 32, decreasing appropriations for capital fund line item H 8997.598, digitalization of records, by $230,000, and capital fund line item H 5410.205, capital sidewalk improvement projects, by $30,000. Thereby closing out these individual projects and increasing appropriations for line item H 9950.9, interfund transfers, by $260,000 to transfer the project funds back into the general fund. Commissioner?
I do have something to say about this. So essentially, we had a project that we borrowed money for, and we've paid it off, and now we have that money sitting in capital. We're not going to do that project, so we took the funds from a project that was never done, and we applied it to the general budget, our operating expenses as a village. This is one of the mechanisms that we were able to use to keep taxes from being higher. Anything to add to that, sir?
No?
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second, but I just want to add one other thing on that. Since we are closing out a sidewalk project investment, and there's been discussions that are picking up in conjunction with public safety and the walkability working group from the Port Jet Civic Association, if we could just maybe mentally bookmark that $30,000 for sidewalks for the future. Sounds like no one disagreed, so that is a mental bookmark.
I'm just
for-
thinking
yeah.
that through for a moment because
Mhm.
of the ins and outs. First of all, once again, this is one of those, so it was great to work with Janice to get that, really start those wheels going, and I appreciate you really picking that up and running with it.
Walkability?
Yeah, the walkability study. I would have a question for the treasurer. So is that 30,000 already encumbered, or is that going to be in reserve?
These are
For sidewalk.
these are expected revenues into the general fund that were budgeted for the specific purpose, as you stated before, so that the tax increase would be minimal to the taxpayers.
I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. The expense side of that's going into capital sidewalk improvement projects, has that been encumbered?
No, nothing was encumbered.
In that case, we can do that. The answer is yes. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, this, just to clarify.
Yeah.
This money is coming out of the capital fund completely. It's zeroing out the account, and it's sending that money as a revenue into general fund. So
Okay.
It would have to
Understood.
be reappropriated.
So
through
it
this
would,
process
yeah,
again.
we'll work with
Yes.
the,
Exactly, ma'am.
with the whole walkability study, and we'll figure out what's necessary. As I recall, and I wasn't in the last meeting, but I know you were, we were going to identify some low-hanging fruit that we could do without, really raising expenses significantly. So, maybe you and I can catch up afterwards,
Yeah.
and you can give me an update on that.
Yeah, conversations have evolved a little bit, but it's good that we have a soft bookmark of at least that amount of
Soft mental bookmark.
yeah, soft mental bookmark of at least like $30,000 that can get put toward
Seed.
that. Yeah, a seed money there. I like that. Yeah.
Possibly.
Possibly.
We'll see.
If the board approves. Okay, so, did we vote? All in favor? Did we make a motion?
We need a motion there.
Okay, motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Resolution number 21, 73025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 101, decreasing appropriations for general fund line items per the attached, and raising appropriations for fiscal year 2025-2026 over budget general fund line items. Commissioner?
Yeah, this one, 21 and 22, again, follow the same procedural, process. And this one is for the general, 22 is again for the country club. There is a $0 net effect to this, but as far as I'm aware, this is the first time that we have closed a financial year properly and taken the over-unders and correctly applied them to the following year's budget. So that's what these two resolutions represent.
May we have a motion?
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 22, 73025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 102, decreasing appropriations for PJCC line items as per the attached, and raising appropriations for fiscal year 2025, 2026 over budget PJCC fund line items. Commissioner, no further discussion?
Unless there are questions from the other trustees? No? Okay.
Thank you. In that case, may I have a motion, please?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number
carries.
23, 73025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 33, decreasing appropriations for line item A, 1910.4, insurance expenses, by $30,000 and increasing appropriations for line item A, 5110.12, highway part-time by $10,000, and line item A, 7110.12, parks part-time by $20,000. Commissioner?
This is the remainder of the insurance savings. This is being reallocated in response to DPW letting us know that, and Parks letting us know that they need some additional assistance given some of the workload, and that's how we're funding it.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 24-73025. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 34, decreasing appropriations for line item A, 1990.4 contingency expenses by $8,000, and increasing appropriations for line items A, 1410.4 clerk's expense by $8,000 to fund the record retention projects. Commissioner?
You may have noticed that there's some painting and moving and renovating going on. As part of that, we're moving Treasury and that office, so payroll, AP, the accounting function. But in our last meet, I don't know if it was our last meeting or the one prior, we talked about approving an expense for document management that is to pay for somebody who is going through all of the documents that are in these boxes that resulted in the binders we discussed earlier. And so that's what that is. The note at the bottom, for those of you who have the paper copy, is just incorrect. It was incorrectly copied down.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 25-73025. Resolution approving the attached proposal submitted by DF Stone Contracting Limited under Suffolk County DPW contract number MSI 081020S for required work in conjunction with the Old Homestead Recharge Basin Project per FEMA project number 4615DRNY, and authorizing Mayor Shepro to sign the notice to proceed to DF Stone Contracting Limited on behalf of the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Just a quick comment about this project. The first phase of this project started, I believe, after Hurricane Ida and was authorized by FEMA. FEMA funded Phase 1 to restore a badly demolished recharge basin between Old Homestead Road and Oakwood Road. You could see it looked like the Grand Canyon there for a little while. And so.
And it ripped the entire street up.
And it ripped that water.
Like
that water
2
flow
inches
ripped the
of
entire
the
street up.
surface of the road, yeah.
The first phase of the project was completed, but in between, the storms that occurred in between Phase 1 and Phase 2 showed that the project wasn't working as well as it could, so the engineers re-engineered the design and had to resubmit it to FEMA. On our behalf, we had to resubmit it to FEMA to get the funding, and that also to make sure that they approved the new design. So that took about 9 to 10 months to get that approval. In the meantime, we had the August storms, which resulted in the near collapse of some backyards of the people on Sands Lane, which we decided not to strategically retreat from, but to address with FEMA funding. And so FEMA approved the funding of a remediation and mitigation and repair work of that backyard area, and restored the culvert and the I guess I'll call them manholes for the lack of a better term. Say what?
The drop manholes.
The drop downs, yeah, so that doesn't, there's just all these collection units in the hill, like in the bluff itself. I'll call it a bluff, but it's really a grade.
Miniature sumps
It's
all over the place.
and
Yeah,
the
just-
surrounding walls.
Yeah.
So that water really destroyed a lot of that property, and it was old anyway. The infrastructure was very old. So DS Stone completed phase 1 of that project on time and under budget, and now they just submitted their proposal for the finalization of constructing phase 2 as per the FEMA August storms project and the phase 2 of the original Hurricane Ida remediation project. So that's what we are approving now, so they can start the work on that project post haste. Do we have a motion? We did have a motion. That was discussion. Do we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Resolution number 26-73025, resolution declaring a surplus and no longer needed for municipal purposes, office equipment, supplies, and materials not earmarked for reuse as a result of the records management project being undertaken by Jennifer Hildreth on behalf of the village clerk's office. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 There'll be a tour of the facility after this meeting, if anybody wants to see some of this stuff, now that we have accessed it. You can take it away. There's little tags on each item to say how much they cost.
It's an estate sale.
Just kidding.
More revenue.
Resolution number 27-73025, resolution approving the check register and warrants dated July 25th, 2025, as presented by Treasurer Gafka and as approved by Claims Auditor Goodwin. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor, at this time, we have an add-on resolution, which will be known as Resolution Number 28-73025, a resolution authorizing the Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson to direct a comment letter to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation regarding closed-loop geothermal rulemaking and GEIS scope, particularly noting that the unique environmental sensitivity of Port Jefferson and the broader Long Island aquifer system demand a conservative and a highly protective approach to regulation. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Okay, just quick discussion. Trustee Deputy Mayor Ugrinsky brought this to my attention yesterday, I believe, or even this morning, can't remember which, but
Yesterday.
Today. So thought it was very proactive in her work as the sort of energy liaison and the liaison to the power plant working group, and aware of sort of many of the things that are technical and energy related. She did her research on this item. I took the liberty of sharing it with our environmental consultant, Peter Scully, who worked for the DEC, as this is regulated by the DEC, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get his feedback, and he was very much, the sentiments that he expressed were that this was proactive and well thought out by Trustee Ugrinsky. But having said that, would you like to read and comment on this
Yeah.
for the benefit of the trustees? Because I
if
really
I,
haven't seen that yet.
I mean, rather than just read it, because I think everybody's got a copy of it now, but the reason this is important to Port Jeff is in my general work, in my day job in energy, there is going to be an expansion in geothermal regulations. New York State is trying to figure out, how do we regulate it? How should we regulate it? Because prior, geothermal was regulated under the same regulations as like oil and gas, fracking, basically. Okay? So what they did, New York State and the DEC have asked for community input on regulations around closed loop geothermal. So Why is this important to Port Jefferson? Because we are, one, a coastal community, and two, we sit on two incredibly important aquifers. And if you're allowed to go past 500 feet, then you get into our drinking water aquifer, which nobody wants. So rather than have New York State or the DEC draft regs that would be fine in Kingston, New York, or upstate, they have to take into account coastal areas, protection of the aquifers, and the layers that, the unique layers we have in our geologic environment. The second was, there are some recommendations on grouting and sealing and the monitoring of that so that there's no seepage of these chemicals into our drinking water. Also, some recommendations on local oversight and notification. I know of 2 geothermal projects that residents have done in Port Jefferson, but they took into account, really where they were and where they were sitting on the aquifer. So it's not like we have to go back and re-review those, but we'd like to make, recommendations about long-term monitoring, emergency protocols. I don't know if everybody's aware, but I also sit on the Brookhaven Battery Energy Storage System committee that is currently evaluating what recommendations to make. And many of the same sort of long-term monitoring, emergency protocols are all under review and should be taking into account the unique nature of where we live. And then also the fact that they should take into account public engagement. So if something is happening in our backyard, we would like the opportunity to address it prior to it happening. So let me just pause there and see if there are any questions.
When's the deadline for comments?
I think it's tomorrow.
Okay. Is there one? Well, first, thank you for taking the initiative on this. I think it is really important that as a village, we have more engagement with
Albany.
the state and all levels of government, right? State, county, whatever. So just like, I guess this is really coming from lack of knowledge and familiarity with this. So mandate use of non-toxic biodegradable fluids in all closed-loop systems. Obviously, that sounds great, but does that exist?
Yeah.
Okay. Because my concern comes from, I don't want to ask for something that doesn't exist, and then we're saying, don't do these clean energy projects, essentially, which is what, in my experience on Capitol Hill, that's what industry groups will ask for. The impossible, and then the impossible means don't make it happen.
Request.
Yeah. But I mean, on the face of this all sounds good. I wish we had more time to just dig in and see other environmental groups' comments on this to get to see where folks are. But I understand that if the deadline is tomorrow, I would rather comment than.
I sat in on. They had a webcast 3 days ago, which is when I started thinking about this and the importance of Port Jeff sending in our opinion, right? So I'm happy to walk through any questions you have, have a deeper conversation on it, if you'd like.
And I guess, this also comes from lack of knowledge. Is Long Island is it ripe for geothermal?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Okay, so as we go through this renewables evolution, let's call it, right? And whether that slows down or speeds up, that's dependent on the administration that's in charge, but I don't believe it's something that's going to slow down, right? We may have some moratoriums on wind farms, et cetera, but in general, we're trying to move towards less and less fossil fuels. The role that geothermal plays is that it's a great way to reduce the amount of energy required for both heating and cooling. So if you drill down far enough and run a closed loop system, the water going down in the summer gets cooled down to 52 degrees. That's the sort of base temperature at that depth. And in the winter, that cold water is going back down and it's warming up to 52 degrees. So that's one way of creating energy. I have, as I said, I know one neighbor very close to me has just implemented that system. Now, those are residential systems. That doesn't go down that far. It's going down probably less deep than even our well for the country club, right? So it's less than 180 feet. What is happening is that people are starting to look at geothermal for hospitals, schools, municipalities, and so that requires a much larger system. So people have been starting to scale it up based on what we know about petrochemical removal in the ground. So I do believe that there will be more analysis or opportunity. People will come in, just like the battery storage folks are all, coming in, trying to lease land, put batteries on it, and they are basically going to build it and then sell it, right? Same thing's going to happen with on this topic. And so I just felt it was prudent for us to get ahead and at least have our voice heard in terms of the dangers that it could be for our drinking water, aquifers, and they should adjust the depth regs appropriately based on the unique environment that Long Island is.
And then, thank you for that. And then maybe just a more rudimentary question. Is this rule for energy production, geothermal, or for water heating, cooling?
It's either.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they're actually using the temperature difference in some cases to generate electricity. That's not actually what I expect to see a lot of here on Long Island.
Okay, because that's
it's
way past the water tables. I don't have any more questions. Thank you for taking us through that.
So,
We have a motion and a second.
motion?
We have that?
So so is the letter
Good
as
question, yeah.
drafted? Is it signed the mayor and board of trustees?
Yeah, I think, the purpose of having this conversation is to generate this
From the
from
board.
the entire board, not just from me. Yeah.
So with that edit, I think we're okay, to vote, right?
Yes.
So we need to make that, we're
I
not
will make
changing the
that.
resolution, we're just
Yep.
changing the signature on the letter, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Zena.
Resolution number 29, 73025, resolution to enter into executive session at 8:01 PM to discuss a contract negotiation and the specific performance of a particular employee. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Clerk Perillo, do we anticipate a vote once we come out of executive session?
We do not, Mayor.
So we can say goodnight, Jeff. Thank you very much. And to all, a good night.
Thanks, Jeff.